Everybody, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm a buddy Brett, and we are just chilling. Yeah, it's funny, huh? Shoo. And we just finished up our other space and time video, and that was pretty good. I definitely I'm really starting to become a real believer in end-to-end testing. I've only tried one end-to-end system, and that was Cypress. I've heard nothing but good things about Cypress in the past, so people really like it. I do think the one knock on Cypress is that you have to know how to code, unfortunately. And not only do you have to know how to code, but you really need to understand the application you're writing end-to-end tests from. And I don't think that most, like, I took this agile course once. I had to take it, and I had to get certified in like safe agile, like scaled agile stuff and stuff like that. So, and I was this lady who, she was a teacher and she was running it, and she was telling me, she was like sort of like so we were having sort of a debate about like how I didn't think that I think developers should do other work other than development. Like, we both agreed on that. But they thought that developers should work in QA. And I was like, I don't think developers make very good QA people. I think that's a very different skill. And on top of that, you don't want, what is the deal? You don't really want, like, you don't want the person who makes the thing also be the person who, and has peers that make things, be the person then who gives the thumbs up. You don't want, like, as a developer, you have to work with other developers, and you guys have to have a certain relationship, and it's not a very good relationship if the developer have to sort of give the thumbs up to their coworkers' work. And not only that, but like, if it is the kind of problem that will slip by a typical developer brain, you really want a QA brain to be on it. So I always thought that developers would be better as, if they are going to do secondary work, like BA work and all that. But so she was telling me, well, QAs are writing end-to-end tests now, so now they're going to put you guys out of work. You're not, regular developers aren't even going to get work because the QAs are going to do all the work. And I was like, end-to-end testing coding is so insanely different than, that's like saying you're not going to have sprinters anymore because marathon runners can run 100 yards. Like, it's just a whole different thing. It looks similar to like the naked eye to someone who doesn't know anything, but they're totally different skills, writing end-to-end tests and all that. So anyways, about 2 months after she was our teacher, she ended up, I saw on LinkedIn that she became the head of software development at some corporation, and she was like in charge of 800 developers or something like that. And I was just like, yeah, that that tracks. I would imagine she completely messed that place up because she didn't know the first thing about software development, but she did know Agile inside and out. But I don't even remember how I got onto this subject. I think what it was, the deal was, is, I don't even remember. But we do have, I was just watched yesterday's, or the video that I made last Sunday, and it basically, I came away with like, there's a bunch of stuff that needs to be done to get this continuous working. And so discrete works great, right? Like, I go like this, right? Hello, oh, hello world. Let's see, it does this thing. Hello world, I love you. Um, hello world, I love you. Say, like, it works perfectly. Um, and oh, loved. Wow, that's a little, just upsetting. But anyways, yeah. So you see that I think that works really well, and I think it's easy to kind of imagine a really good application. But in continuous, it's something's working different, right? Like if I say, let's go over here to continuous, and I say, "Hello world, I love you," and then stop it, and then I go over here, and I scroll all the way down into our logs. I believe what we'll see if we go to our last one. Oh no, so that worked. Okay, so let's try this. I'm going to refresh. Um, Hello world, I love you. Stop, and then I'll come over here and scroll to the bottom. Yeah, see, all we ever get is the hello world here. And I'm 99% sure that's because there's some additional data that I'm not getting. And I don't know how that all works. I know that we did a pretty good job of, like, we sort of distilled everything so that it worked really well for discrete, but obviously, whatever that distillation process lost actual valuable information in our continuous, but it's information inside there. So that was one thing we need to dig into that, and that would be like fall under the category of known unknowns, right? We know that there's something there that we do not understand. We don't have it. The other thing that came up was if you say like this, hello world, and then you go over here and you come back, you lose your stop, right? So like then I guess I should have demonstrated that a little bit better. So like if you go, hello world, and then you leave, say it says stop recording, and then when you come back, you've lost that state of stop recording. But we want to maintain that state across the application. This is not an issue, right? Like over in discrete, this isn't an issue because discrete is done different, right? You say hello world, and then it's done. There's no state to maintain, but over here we do have a state to maintain. So that is a fundamental difference on the way continuous and record works, and that means you have to code that specifically different, and that's an easy thing to just sort of lose. And that one's an easy thing to understand, so it's a beauty. So I feel like I want to take care of the known bug, the known issue that I want to have. And I think the right way to do that is to find this guy here and figure out how he decides what should be displayed. Ah. What? Are you a flat earther? Are you a flat earther? Apparently Rhett's a flat earther. She believes Do you believe the earth is flat? Huh? Is it a big conspiracy? Oh, are we keeping that a secret? Okay. Apparently we were supposed to keep that a secret. So basically what happens is our recording, this may not work the same. If you work right now with tabs and stuff, I know that in some environments, when you move from tab to tab, the application, the components inside the tab are destroyed, and sometimes they're not destroyed. Right, so like if you look at our tab, we have this app continuous. So when we leave and we come back, app continuous is destroyed and recreated. The problem is we need this variable to survive. So this can no longer be a component attribute. It needs to be a speech service attribute. Now here's the thing is, it could be a signal. There's no reason it couldn't be a signal, but why? I feel like it makes more sense to make it a variable, and if we must, we could put getters and setters and make it private and all that. I'm not going to do that, but we could, right? And I feel like that would be a better way to do it. So instead of it looking at this recording, it would be look like this speech service continuous recording. So let's go over there. You're a good girl, even if you have some interesting ideas. You're a good girl. Okay, so basically we need, these are all attributes. See, I have one that's private called log listing. I have some private ones. I'm going to make this a public one, right? And it's just going to say, and the only reason I'm creating it is just for persistence. That's it. And I only plan to use it in one component, I think. At this point, I think I would only use it in one component. Maybe results will care, but maybe not. So anyway, so we're going to call this continuous recording. And we're going to set it. We're going to set it. I don't know. So some linters will ding you if you give it a type here. Boolean. But then sometimes you end up with like the transpiler thinking that continuous recording is always false, period. And so I don't know, but I'm going to give it, I actually like giving, even if it is like, even if this is a string, a number, and you can figure it out. I like saying what it is. But anyways, continuous recording is false. We are close, right? And so now I'm going to just change this up. And this should just work. This dot speech service. So like it, and I do think that it's interesting that in the context of the continuous component, recording makes total sense. But in the speech service, recording does not make sense. You need to add continuous recording. I think that's an interesting thing to think about. It is always interesting to talk to people. Like, you can find out a lot about a person when you ask them about, like, why should you make this private? Now, I personally, as a person who's been doing this a long time, I don't think that by default that should always be private. But it is interesting to hear the crazy, almost like flat earther kind of things that people will say when you ask a question like that, because they'll think sometimes that like a hacker from like that's sitting on their computer can somehow get into your memory of the application that's running on your browser and change it or something like that. Like, they don't understand that, no, this is running and it's in memory of something, like if they have the kind of control where they can alter the internal memory of your browser, yeah, then setting something private ain't going to do a damn bit of good. But it is interesting to hear people's reasonings behind that, because unfortunately, like, we don't know everything, so we have to kind of make some stuff up in our head, and it is always fun to hear the stuff that people make up in their head. And then I don't think we even need this anymore. And then I think we are actually using, well, I guess we don't want this. We're using this inside of the markup. Yeah. Here, I'm going to hit save. Go ahead and let her break. Now, a lot of linters would not allow this. This would get caught in a lot of linters. So you would have to like set up a getter and then do stuff like that. Get a getter working. And then, okay, now what is your problem? Did I miss continuous? I see the word property continuous recording doesn't exist in speech service. Did I not hit save or did I misspell it? I did not hit save. Okay, so what we want, basically what we want is to hit this button, leave, come back, and it still be in the same state of stop recording. Stop recording. Yep, that's good. And then we're good there. I would love to understand why the log doesn't update till we come back over here. Why that little guy doesn't get his latest stuff. So that is that. How long is this video? 16 minutes? Okay, so basically, so the next thing is we have a known unknown, right? We know that whatever we're getting is screwy. Or well, so now there's two obvious things to do next. One is to actually work on our results component, right? So and we do have that, right? So let's go ahead and we already have a results component, and I believe it says results coming. I think that is in its own component, maybe not. Yeah, continuous component. Oh, okay. So we probably should create a standalone results component. So that will be the next step. So we're going to go to our package. And first thing we're going to do is close everything else. So always a good, for me, it's almost always 99 times out of 100. This is almost always a great time to close everything else. And let's see, where do we generate this continuous component. And so we want a continuous component results. And I guess I should go look at, I think under discrete, I have discrete result. Yeah, so we want continuous result. See, where is our discrete result? That was this guy right here. And it looks to me like we have done some improvements in some changes in our file structure since we did this. So it's ng generate component, and then we want it to be called continuous result. And we want it to be inside of, I think we want to tell, yeah, component. So kind of like the way we did this dialog up there. And then continuous. And then I like to always picture what I expect to happen in my head. So I expect a new folder in here to show up called continuous result. I think continuous is misspelled. Oh no. It looks like I have it misspelled all over the place. It's like, I think it's O, yeah, U-O-U-S. Ugh. Okay. So what should I do? I think I should fix this one, leave this one broken, and then go back and fix that next. And let's go ahead and fix that there. I think I've, like, because of this, I've learned how to spell continuous, but it kind of didn't sink in until like during this week that there's this weird U-O-U-S situation going on there. So I'm expecting it to show up inside of my misspelled continuous. And then I'm going to start fixing that. npm run. Now, in a group, like if you were working with a bunch of developers, this could be a real mess to try to get straightened out, because a lot of people would likely have it on their machines already, and then they may make changes in there. And if you and I think get kind of sees it as a delete and a recreate. So if they're working on something that it sees as deleted, their code is just has no place to go. Its home has been destroyed. So okay, so we expect this. Fortunately, we do not have to worry about that. Oh, look, I did spell that. Oh, I spelled that right. Continuous. So it looks like at some point I actually fixed it. So that's good. And then my dog's coming up for some loving. Good job, Snoopy. All right, buddy. Let me delete this. So it looks like I did fix this already. So good job. Passed me. Apparently it wants... That was weird. But it's gone. And it said, yeah, that was very strange. All right. So continue OUS. I once got this book that was like written that had all the rules of English in it. So I was like, oh, I'm going to study this book. I'm going to understand this English inside and out, and all that. And so but it was written in like 1890. And it was like, there's only one word with this spelling of this followed by this, and that's this, and blah, blah, blah. And then I did searches, and it's like all of those rules have changed since 1890. So there was a time that the English language as spoken here in the USA did make some sort of logical sense. But right now it is a absolute mess. But all right, so we have our continuous result. And what we want to do is, first thing we want to do is we want to grab this. We want to copy this guy right here, the name of the class, and we want to import this class into our standalone component. And fortunately we have the blue guy there, so that and it found it. And I kind of like to have a little space in between my components and my services. And then the second thing we want to do is we want to get a hold of this guy. And we want to go into the continuous HTML, and we want to replace that text with our component. And then we want to Googlert that. And continuous results works. Okay, so now I can't remember if we, in our speech service, if we have a continuous. So we do have a continuous result signal. Do we do anything with that right now? Just out of curiosity. Okay, so that is misspelled. That is so wild how that works. Like it's like there's an upload to your brain, and now you know how to spell continuous. And so now that broke it. So that's a good way to know that it is actually being used. And then we want to do something that's very similar to our discrete. We kind of could just figure it out, but it's probably better to try to emulate how you did it in the other place, so that you can try to stay as consistent as possible. There's sort of this weird kind of middle ground between do not repeat yourself, and then do not reinvent the wheel every time. You do want to stay sort of consistent with the way it's been done before, so that people don't have to sort of so you only have to kind of learn one scheme when you're coming up to speed on something. Inject. So we're importing inject from Angular core, and then it'll probably help us with speech service. Okay, so now we do want to create a constructor. I'm trying to do this from memory, constructor. And then we want to import our effect and EFGHI. So E comes before I. Effect. And then so we want to come over here and we want to run the effect function. And I don't actually know if we're running the effect function or what. If I'm guessing that there was probably no, I don't know. I don't know if the transpiler then takes this effect and creates a whole bunch of exotic code. I believe that just takes an empty array. An empty function. I don't think anything comes in this thing. Oh, apparently you can't. Oh, no. Registers an effect that will be scheduled and executed whenever the signal that it reads signals. Whenever the signals, plural, that it reads changes. Angular has two different kinds of effect: component effects and root effects. Component effects are created when effect is called from a component directive or within a service of a component directive. Root effects are created when effect is called outside of the component tree, such as in a root service, or when the force root option is provided. The two effect types differ in their timing. Component effects run as a component lifecycle event during Angular synchronization change direction detection process, and can safely read input signals or creates destroys views depending on component state. So that's probably one of the things that people really like a lot about effects, is that you don't have to like subscribe and unsubscribe or destroy things or anything like that. So now we want to say, how did I name that? That would be interesting to see. We named it current show result. So I do check for the first time. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that's all necessary. But this result is equal to that. Oh, and I bet you this might be the thing that why we're only getting one thing. But so I'm going to say this result like that. And I think our result, no, let result. Okay, so I'm not even, yeah, so anyways, let's just do that. Continuous results component. So basically we're just assigning it to a local variable, which I guess can be anything. What happens if I say string? Result is declared, discrete result. So I return a discrete, oh, okay, we do not. We want continuous voice result. I'm sure it's probably called continuous. And I think it is the one that we just created. And let's see, what does it say? So it's continuous, apparently a continuous voice result returns a discrete result. I thought I'd created a new kind of result. So let's go and look at voice interfaces. Go to implementation. I don't, is it this one? No, I don't know. I don't know why it did that. So what if I go to definition? There we go. So do I have, yeah, so I do have a continuous result, which right now is that, oh, and yeah, so I think I have a feeling I'm just looking at the very first one of these. That's probably where my problem is. And this should be continuous transcript. No. Continuous result. And it's saying, I don't know what that is, bro. I don't really know. Like, I think interfaces probably should come before services. I don't know why this. Save. And I think I must not have saved over in the service. Oh. Continuous CONTINUOUS. And wherever discrete, let's see, continuous result. And that's weird that it's complaining that it isn't used. Did I misspell again? Yes. Spelling. Us and you. And then let's go to our speech. I know. Never. Whoop, 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 whoop. Continuous. You. See what's broken. Let's go to here. Okay, now what's your problem? Oh, okay, so that's supposed to be an array? Let's save. And now let's just console log this. See what we get. Because now we're in the unknowns. Like, so everything that was broken before this and that I've been working on has been like very like clear what was going on. Now we're like, okay, why am I not getting everything? Result. Okay, so let's just, right now, the first thing to do is just make sure we don't have any weird console stuff going on right now. Okay, so all we have is our empty result. And then hello world, how are you? Okay, so we have this. Oh yeah, see all these transcripts? But what's weird is I feel like, where did the how are you end up though? Okay, so let's see where, so obviously that is not far enough. And like I said, I'm in a complete unknown sort of situation right now. So let's go look at our where we create our continuous signal. Because my gut is that at some point I am getting rid of data, and it might be part of this result transcript. Result array. On result. So we have a result here. So let's console.log, and I don't know, what should we call this? Service result. And then result. And let's just see if there's anything. Hello world. How are you? What do you think, Rhett? Are we going to figure it out here? Is this the big moment? Service result. So this is everything. Here are our results. And there's 2 sets of results in here. And then we got this set, which then has that. And then, so then we got a second set on that. And I'm thinking that I'm only doing one. I must only be looking at this first one, because probably in discrete, that's all you ever get. But let's see. So that's a transcript. And it's kind of weird. I mean, something seems, it's going to be interesting. Because, okay, so we get this over and over again. Now with the result, all we got was our one hello world. See, so here's the result from this that we got back at the. But what we really want is both of these. So I think that's a pretty good step in the right direction. And I think this is a good stopping point, because I definitely want to kind of give that time to kind of percolate in my brain. So I think the pattern I've kind of gotten into is on Saturday mornings, I kind of continue with my space and time, and then I come up to speed. I watch my video, and I come up to speed on the Angular voice analyzer, and then I'll have some continuation and start tomorrow with Angular voice analyzer, and then do a space and time, and then I think I'll probably end up doing both again on Monday, since I have Monday off. Be a good day to do that. I am ready. So anyways, I think we're getting close. I think this is awesome. It's really clean. It's weird. So like, I guess we could look up here and see what it, and it is interesting how it doesn't do the weird 5 different ways of saying hello and stuff like that on the continuous. It only does that on the discrete. Which, like, it's weird. You wouldn't think that would work differently. So that was hello world. So like the very first one. Let's see. Results. So in the first one, we got hello. So I guess as this, we can actually see what happens in the first one pretty easily. So we got hello with a 0.099%. And then all of a sudden, hello felt really good about that. And then we got hello world. So that was the third one, or the fourth one, that it got the second thing. And then we never ever, because then I guess it decided that there was a pause, which there was. And then how are you came in next. So I'm going to try something fun. Okay, before. It's like, um, okay, thing. The thing is, I like to sing is whenever the thing is. So let's see what our last one was. Because it always has a hard time with thing and sing. So I feel like that's not what I was expecting at the end. Oh no, here we go. The thing is, I like to sing is whenever the thing is. That's exactly right. The thing is, I like to sing is whenever sing it is. Oh wow, now that's a pretty good one though. Thing it is whenever the thing is. And the thing is, I like to sing is. So that result seems really weird to me. So what do I get in my result? Oh, it's because I didn't pause. And see, these are like the edge cases and the things that like you until you get to play with it, you just don't. The thing is, I like to sing when the thing. Okay, stop. Okay. So now let's see what we got. So the pauses really make a big difference. And I think it's going to be very, very, very difficult to code to that. But that is right on the thing. And what we don't get, like we got in discrete, what we never ever get is the we were getting like multiple transcripts in discrete, whereas in this we always get one transcript. And the transcript, like, okay, so like hello was one that it would give us, like if we were in discrete, hello. I don't know why it didn't hear me. Oh, so it did hear me, and it gave me 5 of these. And so I think that would be like, hello, hello. And so when we look at this one, if we were looking at this exact same results in the other hello, we would get 2. See, we would get two of these. But in this one, that's interesting. Hello, and then, yeah. So I think that is going to be really weird. That's a very strange thing to code too. I definitely think continuous is going to be much, much harder. A much more difficult thing. And then we still need to code in the grammars, and that will affect both. And then in discrete, I think we're just going to pick up. This will be the same. They'll both share the same language and the same max count, and the same grammars. I don't think there's anything that's going to be different between continuous and discrete. And it'll be very interesting to see if we give it a grammar of hello, if in discrete all we ever get is, like, if it finds hello and doesn't give us any of these other unusual spellings. But anyways, yeah, so I think we're making good progress. I think continuous is a little bit less mysterious now. Tomorrow, I guess, tomorrow we're going to have to sort of change the way this list works, the way this thing does its thing, the results array, I think it'll make sense to do. Yeah, it'll make total sense to. I don't know what we're gonna do. It's like there's needs to be one more layer, like for pauses, and then the next set. So, anyways, that's pretty cool, and that's what I'll be working on tomorrow. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.